We get old. That's just how life goes. For some people, aging is tough because they tend to become really fragile. They can't even take for themselves. If they have a furry companion, it can also be more difficult for them because then no one can take care of them. Such was the case with an 82-year-old man from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, who was sent to a nursing home. Following this mandatory move, a distant family member was in charge of visiting the man's house and sort out some details. So he went to the empty home to get a relative's cat. However, he ended up getting a shocking surprise. That was something he could never imagine. This is what he discovered that day. An 82-year-old man lived alone for years. However, when his Alzheimer's disease started affecting his everyday activities, his relatives had to react. His closest relative was a man named Paul Russell, who helped him move from his house to the nursery home. He wanted him to be near him, so Russell found him an excellent facility near his home in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. It's never easy to leave your home. After all, your house is your sanctuary and owner of your most cherished memories. However, when you live alone and you have difficulties moving from the bedroom to the bathroom, help is much needed. That's why Paul talked with the other family members and made a decision. The older man couldn't be alone in the house anymore. What made things even worse was the fact that he couldn't remember anyone anymore. Once Paul relocated his cousin into the nursing home, he remembered one thing. His cousin had a Siamese cat named Siam. However, he couldn't remember seeing the cat during the movement, so he decided to search the home and check if the cat was still there. If anything, nice food would be welcoming. He also had to figure out what to do with the cat. Just while Russell was ready to go to his cousin's house, someone mentioned that there might be 2 cats. With this in mind, he headed toward the old house. He was ready to search the whole place and find out if his relative had only one furry companion or 2. Now he knew that he needs to check both inside and outside the home. At the time, he had no idea what was waiting for him. Russell started searching the house for a cat or cats. In no time, he found Siam and made sure that he has everything that he needs at the time. Then, a large object darted across the house during his visit. It looked like a blanket on something alive. He just thought that the second cat probably covered itself in a blanket or an old shirt. It was definitely awkward, so he decided to go back the following day and investigate what exactly run down in the cellar. Russell returned to the house the following day. This time he had a flashlight with him. He felt like he was inside a horror movie while going down the creepy cellar. He had no idea what he was looking for, and that made things even worse. He had this feeling that something is wrong, really wrong. Paul went down in the creepy old cellar just to discover that he wasn't the only living being down there. In no time, there was a set of other eyes looking at him. At that moment, he only saw fear in those eyes. What could it be? Paul needed a few minutes to come to his senses. He was confident what he was seeing, but yet it was hard to believe. He was looking at something that should be a cat. That small cat looked scared and in a lot of pain. What happened to her? Paul was wondering. This cat looked like no cat before. Russell couldn't tell just how small or big the cat is because of all the extra fur that turned into dreadlocks. It turned out the cat is a relative's second cat who could barely move. The cat was a female feline, in fact named Calico. The cat looked neglected, overweight, and matted with 18-inch long dreadlocks. The fur also had feces in it. Paul wasn't too familiar with the feline world or felines' habits, but this was a clear sign that something was wrong. He never before saw a cat so neglected or with so much pain in her eyes. He wasn't sure what he needs to do next, but he knew this much. The cat was in desperate need of help. Since he and his wife Jill were both passionate animal lovers, he decided to take this cat home and help her. The cat was so scared that she spent the majority of her time hiding under the bed. Therefore, Russell named her Heidi. She spent her time under the blankets or at corners being traumatized all the time and in tremendous pain. Therefore, they decided to take her to the veterinarian's office. At the time, they had no idea that they will witness a real miracle. Since they were patient, they managed to earn a cat's trust, and they were able to place her in a cat transporter. They took her to the Animal Rescue League and Wildlife Shelter in Pittsburgh. They took both cats with them. They knew that the cats were pretty old. Siam was 17, and Heidi was 14, so they definitely needed a checkup. However, it turned out that Heidi's condition was alarming. The vet team was absolutely in shock when they saw Heidi. They said that they never saw a cat with the condition as Heidi's. or any other animal. They even afterward researched their own, but they couldn't find any similar case. So what was wrong with Heidi? Read on to see how Heidi looks today. The vet team knew that they won't be able to help Heidi without hurting her, so this unusual cat had to undergo general anesthesia. This was the only way to shave off the matted hair and dreadlocks without hurting the cat. It took them hours to free the cat from her extra fur. The vet team had to shave off Heidi almost wholly. Her extra fur was dense, nearly 2 pounds. The extra pounds was a severe weight for a cat. It was discovered that Heidi was also overweight. Heavy hair and heavy body explained why it was so tricky for Heidi to move around. Still, everyone wanted to know, did her hair manage to grow so fast? Cats are known as clean animals who love to groom themselves. That's why they don't need an additional bath. They clean themselves. So how did Heidi manage to fall into this mess? The vet said to Russell and his wife that her weight played a significant role here. Because of her weight, she couldn't groom herself. This is the reason why Heidi had dreadlocks. Because Heidi couldn't groom herself, hair would shed normally and get stuck in the matted fur, because it has nowhere to go. This explains the dreadlocks and their length. Also, this wasn't the only reason why this overweight feline was in such bad shape. For a cat to be in such bad shape, it takes years of neglecting. Long-haired cats have a high maintenance standard. This means that they need to be groomed regularly and brushed almost every day. Otherwise, their fur will suffer, which can affect their overall health. Heidi was probably groomed regularly, but at one moment, as the disease progresses, her owner couldn't take care of her anymore. The simple habit of brushing a cat likely became impossible for him. It's possible that Heidi's human simply forgot about her. After all, he did have Alzheimer's. He couldn't even remember his name. Therefore, it's possible that he forgot that Heidi exists, especially if she prefers to go outside or explore the hidden parts of the home. This led to her weak physical presence, and it even affected her personality. People tend to miss that felines are compassionate beings, although they are known for having a mind of their own. As a result, people tend to oversee that cats can suffer from stress and anxiety. All in, it can leave traumatic consequences on their personality. Unfortunately, Heidi got the worst from living with a human. Now her life was about to change. If it wasn't for Russell and his wife, Heidi wouldn't get the second chance in life. Thanks to Russell and his wife Jill, both Siam and Heidi were ready to start a new, hopefully happier chapter in their lives. They were treated and vaccinated, and now they were ready for adoption. Surprisingly, both cats were adopted, and they went to the same home. Both Siam and Heidi were adopted in a home in Churchill, Pennsylvania, which was already occupied by 3 cats and 2 dogs. As expected, it was most difficult for Heidi to adjust to new surroundings and to start trusting people again. Also, it took a while for her to adjust to life with no fur. Heidi was scared of everything in the beginning. She couldn't even stand to be touched by anyone. Luckily, with time, she started adapting to her new surroundings. Moreover, she started feeling comfortable in her new home. She even started looking better. Here is how Heidi looked after her makeover. Once all the hair was removed and dreadlocks were shaved, the real Heidi was seen. It was discovered that she's a beautiful kitty with unusual colors. She had a rather interesting fur color. Her entire body is covered in black, white, and orange mix, while her paws are white. At first, Heidi insisted on spending time under the bed. She loved to be hidden so much that Russell had to force her out. She wouldn't even use her litter box. He also regularly holds her in his lap. After some time, she started coming by herself to him for extra attention. She even started purring. The people started commenting on the whole situation. It was just a matter of time that this story would go public. So as soon as the animal shelter posted this story online, people started commenting. Moreover, comments were coming from all over the world. Even TV stations and global newspapers picked up the story. People were furious. People were harsh on the cat's owner without reading the entire story. All the people saw a neglected cat. They didn't know that the owner had Alzheimer's. Others were furious for entirely different reasons. They believed that the cat's owner was neglected. So as a natural step, the cat was neglected as well. They had even more to say. Many pointed out that the man should have been checked on often and had regular visitors. Some were so shocked because of the photos that they insisted that the shelter used fake photos for their publicity. Could it be? Some couldn't believe that the cat would stop grooming. One commenter even said that if this isn't a fake photo, that someone did it on purpose. However, the animal shelter refused these accusations. They also had a claim that this condition is possible in real life. Unfortunately, it turns out that a cat's fur can become so matted, as happened with Heidi. Cats are known as animals who love to groom themselves, but in some situations they can lose the grooming instinct. Cats can get sick quickly if they're not treated right. However, when they are in pain, they tend to hide, and it's tough to know that something is wrong. Unexpected issues such as health issues can significantly interfere with cats' health. Shelter representatives explain that cats could actually stop grooming themselves due to various reasons. Some of the most common reasons for cats to stop grooming themselves is due to age, a medical condition like arthritis, or being overweight.